Glenmorangie, 19 years old, a duty-free exclusive. Is this one you should grab? Stay tuned for the Whiskey Whistle. What up, my whiskey people? Mark here at Whiskey Whistle on YouTube, sharing a little whiskey awesomeness from Winnipeg, the center of North America, bringing you Glenmorangie, 19 years old. I'm going to give this a preemptive malt hug and a malt kiss, because we need more of these beautiful Glenmorangie, older Glenmorangies with age statements. And I've noticed that you've been starting to put back age statements even on your travel retail. So that's amazing. Now let's get that poured and cut the chatter out. I've got a dodgy wrist, so I can barely get that off. I don't know what happened. I slept on it wrong. Has that ever happened to you, or am I getting old? No comments, please. I'll pour that. Okay, a healthy 25, maybe 30 milliliters there. I'm not sure. Beautiful color, though. And this is their upper end bottle style. So very elegant, very shapely, quite sexy, if I may say. Beautiful. Even the box. So this is, I guess, their new direction for their higher end boxes. So why is that wet? You get a really beautiful case, and it opens so seamlessly and just super great. And best of all, it's just made of cardboard, so it does not have a bad odor like some of the boxes that you maybe don't want to store your whiskey in long term. This is their 19-year-old, and it is entirely matured in ex-bourbon. In fact, I believe that is their bespoke bourbon, bespoke American wood. It says only the best bourbon casks. It doesn't say first fill, but probably it's first fill, maybe a tiny bit of second fill, according to my palate. All 19 years in ex-bourbon, so this is very much the older brother, almost the uncle of the 10-year-old. The 18 years old has a bit of sherry finishing. So this one is actually, for the purist, this is really the next step in your Glenmorangie when you're starting from the original 10-year-old. First of all, we're going to check out the color of this Glenmorangie 19 years old. Then we'll have a look at the legs of this whiskey. After that, we'll check out the nose, the palate, and the finish, and finally give it a Whiskey Whistle whiskey score. So stay tuned. Color, first of all, a beautiful medium to dark golden hue. And in my opinion, this is going to be all natural, 19 years in bourbon, and yes, that's what you get. So let's check out the legs of this whiskey. Okay, pretty slow to start. Now it is a little bit cold outside, so that'll stunt the legs a little bit, but you can see how showy that they are. Very thick out here in the cold. So that may actually influence my perception of the mouthfeel. All right, let's get on to the nose. Big, beautiful baked pastries with almonds, an almond pastry, almost like an almond croissant, drizzled with a little bit of like a citrusy honey glaze. It's very rich. I get a little sense here of something like tinned peaches or stewed peaches, where the peaches almost get that real kind of like a cooked flavor, which is very different from the fresh. And big vanilla, little bit of nutmeg, little bit of cinnamon here. The tiniest bit of ginger. So it's very, very slight baking spice note. Especially lots of fruits, especially lots of vanilla. Yes, and that almond croissant drizzled with citrusy honey is perhaps the best descriptor of this nose. All right, on to the palate. Cheers, everyone, and a big cheers to Glenmorangie. Oh, and I should say, and a big thank you to my brother and sister-in-law in Korea, to Sang-hoon and to Eunmi. Thank you so much. I'm really, really thankful for all of the great gifts, including this one. This was a special gift at Christmas of just this past Christmas in 2019. And so thankful to them for bringing that all the way from Korea for me. Beautiful. Thanks, guys. The Palate. The stone fruits are unreal on the palate. Big, juicy, dripping peaches. Delicious, zesty, slightly zesty, citrusy, vanilla, kind of a sprinkle. So zesty and fresh. And if the baking spices were minimal on the nose, they really spruce things up here on the palate. Adding a slight little bit of this sweet candied ginger and a hint of that freshly grated cinnamon. There's even a slight, kind of like a florally hint, kind of like a cardamom. And yes, it is very syrupy. It is very rich. A hint of mace coming through as well. The finish is perhaps the longest finish I've ever had for Glenmorangie. And by the way, this is 43% ABV. So it's in the midpoint of the basic original 10-year-old at 40%. And the extra matured that are often 46%. So you're getting a good strength, especially at its age. There are some older whiskeys that you see that are put out at just simply 40%, and it's quite disappointing. Now that said, this would be nice at 46. It sure would be, but that would also influence the price to go up accordingly. Some Manuka honey on the palate as well. Beautiful. Well, let's add some water. What a nice quiet night out here. Absolutely no wind. The perfect night for recording. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. There we go. Now, at regular bottle strength, it's absolutely delicious for smelling and for tasting. But you want to add a bit of water just to see how things change and whether or not that's going to be better for you, because you may find that that you like a few drops in your Glenmorangie 19, or you may find you prefer it neat, or like if you're like me, you like them both. Now, it's getting so cold, I've got to heat this up a little bit with my hands. All right, let's see how that is. Oh yes, so it really ramps up that baking spice, that baking note, bakery note. And a little bit more citrus coming through now than without water. Some peach skins, including the fuzz. Oh, now another big shout out to one of the supporters of the channel on Patreon, who happens to also be a doctor working so hard to try to help his community get through the coronavirus pandemic, and that is Dr. Graham Young. Cheers to you, Doctor. Big thanks for all your hard work, and if you don't hear that every day, hopefully you can hear that from the gallery here through WhiskyWhistle. Leave a comment for Dr. Graham Young and tell him how thankful you are for the great work that he and his fellow doctors all over the country, all over the world, and nurses and healthcare providers, and also to all the hardworking individuals that are working in your local grocery stores to keep your refrigerator and your pantry stocked with delicious food. So a big cheers to Dr. Graham Young and to all of those that are working so hard for us. Thank you. All right, so the palate with water. So honeyed. So peachy. Absolute peach. In fact, that's an Ontario peach. Yeah. Delicious. One of the ones that are almost red, bright red. And you get that that beautiful color in the flesh. Still beautiful vanillas there. A tiny bit of seared pineapple coming through as well. A light dusting of powdered coconut. Just kind of in the background. But this is really a vanilla, custardy, peachy game here. All right, final taste. Cheers, everybody. Now, I thought that the 15-year-old, the old Glenmorangie 15-year-old, was the biggest fruit bomb that I've ever had. And it may still rank up there. And I'd have to try them side by side. But this is also just a superb, amazing fruit bomb of a delicious whiskey. Beautiful. And I hope you'll get to try that. It's actually not that expensive when you consider the price you're paying for a 19-year-old whiskey. On that note, let's get on to the WhiskyWhistle whiskey score for Glenmorangie Finest Reserve, 19 years old. What is that going to be? It's going to be 94 out of 100. You heard it, 94 out of 100 is the WhiskyWhistle whiskey score for Glenmorangie Finest Reserve, 19 years old. Beautiful stuff. Make sure you grab one, especially if you love your ex-bourbon casks like me. I think this is probably the finest, older ex-bourbon cask whiskey out there. Probably a close runner-up would be the Deanston 18. Now, that would be a good comparison, wouldn't it? Well, thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel by clicking the link right over here and hit the bell above, ding ding. That way you're notified of the future Whiskey Whistles coming at you through your email inbox or through your notifications on your smartphone. If you're enjoying what I'm bringing here with Whiskey Whistle, then why not join the Whiskey Whistle crew? Patreon.com/Whiskey Whistle. Check me out there. Take care, everybody. Stay safe. Bye now.